When writing or planning something, I can't simply sit and write. I have to contemplate what I'm going to say for a few days, and I find inspiration slowly and it comes together. While contemplating the readings for today over a few days, a few lines stood out to me in the first reading as well as the gospel, and a poem and a podcast I listened to all seemed to relate. In today's first reading from Isaiah, I love the imagery of the Lord's promise of providing for our needs. Imagery of bread and water given to thirsty and hungry people. Rich and abundant harvest, spacious meadows and high mountains and hills with water running. In the gospel, Jesus, at the sight of the crowds, was moved with pity for them because they were troubled and abandoned, like sheep without a shepherd. In a podcast reflection by Bishop Barron, he said, "To enter into Advent, to prepare for the coming of the Savior, is to enter into our need for a Savior." To me, this means to realize and know how much we as humans need Jesus, our Savior, in our smallness, and to let go and give all of our troubles and needs to Him. The poem I came across from St. Mary's Press said this: "Being in the wilderness reminds me to let God be God. When I'm at home in the day-to-day, I forget. Sometimes I try to make God mine, to make God do things the way I think they should be done. Sometimes I forget that it's not my job to be God. I think that every problem in the world is mine to solve, and that I'm not allowed to make mistakes. But being in the wilderness reminds me to let God be God. Could I imagine such beauty? Could I picture it in my mind? Could I paint it on a canvas? Could I even capture its glory with a camera? I couldn't do any of those. But God has done them all, and more. God has imagined it all, painted it, and given it life. I couldn't do that. But I do have the chance to see it. I hear it, the sound of the river that never stops changing. I smell it, the freshness of the air after a rain. I feel it, cold dirt in my hands and warm sun on my skin. And being in the wilderness reminds me to let God be God. So that I can be grateful for this gift, the life that surrounds me, and I can cherish it and protect it from those who forget that God is God. So that I can be grateful for this gift, the life within me, because God, who has given life to the wilderness, has breathed that life into me. And though I'll soon forget, being in the wilderness reminds me to let God be God." I know that's what I need to focus more on this Advent. How much I need a Savior. How much I need to let God be God. The end of Advent brings the joyous celebration of Christmas, the celebration of Emmanuel, God with us, the light of the world coming into the world to pierce through the darkness, the hope that will bring us that rich harvest and lofty mountains and spacious meadows if we realize how much we need a Savior, Jesus.